Hi, this is Inside Kate's Kitchen. I'm Kate. We have a guest chef, Gandalf, with us today. I'm glad to see you. What we're going to do today is we're going to do some pressure canning, and we're going to pressure can potatoes. This is a good time of year for doing potatoes. There are all kinds of things in the stores and coming out of the gardens. So, what you need to do for pressure canning potatoes is you'll need potatoes, hot water, salt, your jars, lids and rings, and your canner. And that's all you'll really need. So, I won't bore you guys with watching me peel potatoes. Most people know how to peel potatoes and how to cut them up. What you want to do is you want to cut them so that they're about a 1 by 1 or 1.5 by 1.5. Now these are potatoes that have been sitting in water with fruit fresh, so they're staying white. This is going to be a raw pack, and I got the recipe out of the Ball Canning book. Basically, we have our jars, and I like the wide mouth for this. And we're just going to take some of these pieces of potato and stuff them down in the jars, as many as we can get to fill that jar up. Now, I like to do the bigger pieces in the bigger bottles, the quart bottles instead of the pints. And these I use for potato salad and for casseroles because they're larger, and when they finish going through the canning process, they're usually a little bit firmer than with the small jars. So, we're trying to fill up the jar to within the 1 inch headspace, which is right to the shoulder of the jar. And we just kind of put them in there any way we can. There we go. Now, once we get that in, we're going to put 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt over the top. I put the salt in because it makes the flavor better. So, let's do one more so we understand how we get this part of it. And then we'll go on to the next step. Mr. Gandalf, do you like helping in the kitchen? Do you like to help in the kitchen? Yeah. He's feeling a little shy today. He's not used to the camera. Normally he talks my head off. Try and pack them in fairly well, because you don't want it to be half water when you're finished with the process. Okay, put our 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Now, the next thing we do is we have to have the hot water. We want to fill these with hot water. I've got some on the stove. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Now, you need your funnel again because you don't want to splatter hot water all over everything. We're filling it up. No, Gandy, you stay on the shoulder. Good boy. Gandy likes to be in the kitchen when I'm cooking. He's very interested in what goes on, and he often wants to taste whatever I'm doing. Unlike most birds who like sweet things like fruits, Gandy is a savory bird. He prefers to have things like, he loves eating raw onions, which is very unusual for a bird. Well, you're being kind of talkative suddenly, aren't you? His 2 brothers, they're not really brothers, but we call them brothers, our other 2 macaws, like the sweet things. So Gandy's a little bit different in that way. Now, we have the jars filled. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use our little debubbler, and we'll go down inside all the way around and try and loosen any air pockets so that they can come to the top. And when you do that, it usually makes room for a little more water, which this one did. There we go. Now let's do the other one. We don't want the air getting trapped down in there. It can cause all kinds of problems when you're doing canning. Fill it up just a little more. All right. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to clean the rims and the threads. I have a clean paper towel that I've just dipped in white vinegar, and I'm going to wipe all around the rim and down on the threads to be sure that no salt or oils or anything like that is on it. Once that's done, we're going to place a lid on the jars, just like that. We come over and we get the rings, place the ring on the jar, and you make it fingertip tight, just as tight as you can get it with your fingertips, but not wrenching it down real hard. All right, now these are ready to go in the canner. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off and finish doing all of these and get them ready, and when we've got everything ready and in the canner, I'll bring you back. I now have all of our jars in our canner. They've all been sealed and ready to go. The water is in there and it's been heating. It's not quite boiling yet, but it is simmering. Next thing we need to talk about is safety in using a pressure canner. The pressure canner that I have is the All-American. It is made out of aluminum. It's very strong. It's called a weighted gauge because it has a gauge to watch the pressure, also a place on for a weight. Now most canners have a rubber ring in here that seals when you're doing your canning. But the American canner is made so that you don't have that. It's metal to metal. And what you do is you put a little bit of, I use coconut oil, around the inside. That way it will seal itself, but you can then open it. So, it's all on. I checked and looked through my vent to be sure I can see through it. It's not plugged. And we're going to now put the lid on the canner. There's a little arrow in the metal here, and there is an indentation cut in the lid. What we want to do is put the canner on, here it's down, and then turn it so that the arrow and the indentation match. Once that's on, we'll start bringing the locks up. There we go. And then we tighten them down at opposites of each other. You don't do it around, you do it opposite. By the way, Gandhi got tired and decided he wanted to go to bed, so I get to finish this without him. So up we go, and then we tighten them down all the way around. This is a safety feature, and it's very, very good to pay attention to it and use it. Pressure canning is perfectly safe if you follow safety rules. Those have been tightened down all the way around. And we're going to turn up the temperature to high to let the water that's been simmering and the jars that are in there come up to boiling. When it boils, there will be a steam that comes out of this. Once that's a steady stream of steam, then we will put our little weight on it. We'll set right down on there on the 10-pound setting because I'm at sea level. We'll set that down on it and it'll spray out. We'll put the timer and we'll let it spray for 10 minutes. That evacuates all the cold air out of the timer. Then we'll put the weight on. Set our timer for 40 minutes and then we'll come back when all of that's done and show you our canned potatoes. Welcome back. While you were gone, we put the jars in the canner, put the lid on, let it vent for 10 minutes, put the weight on, let it process for 40 minutes. At the end of the 40 minutes, we turn the heat off, and it has now gone back to neutral pressure. All of the steam is out. It's now to take the weight off and get the jars out of the canner. Always use a hot pad because a little bit, it'll still be hot and could be a little bit of steam. We take that off. Next we undo our lock nuts. remember we did them up tight, so they're going to be a little hard to get off. And they are hot. Remember, you do it on opposite sides, not in a clockwise motion. Get one other hot pad. We're going to turn the lid to unlock it. And we're going to lift up, always being careful to lift it away. Here we go. So that any steam that's in there will not get in your face. All right. Now we take our jar lifter out. And there you have the first jar of potatoes. I always use the jar lifter when taking these out because it is still very hot. As you can see, if you look closely, the potatoes are still boiling inside the jar. You have to put it on a towel in a warm, draft-free area so that it can cool. And these jars will have to cool for 24 hours. At the end of 24 hours, you'll tighten the rings back down and wash the jars. And take them out of, after washing them and drying them, you'll take the rings off. You'll put your labels on, and it'll be free time to go on your pantry shelf. One thing you will need to do once it's cooled is check to be sure that the dome top has popped down. That means that your jars now have a vacuum and your food is preserved. So, 24 hours from now, we'll put a label on it and they'll be ready to go on the shelf. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.